scenes as well as open. I don't, I find it hard in America that no one is using it too. I do have to find that. Now, I'm saying that openly, you may not call someone that. Now, when we talk about the rap culture, most of the rappers were rapping about their environment and what they were living. Among each other, they were calling each other this word behind the scenes. But when they get into society, they don't use it. Now it has been more exposed, the behind-the-door culture of calling each other this, using the N-word, sometimes sarcastically, sometimes joking among African Americans. But it was to relieve the hurt more so than to say, "Oh, we accept."
Can I ask you a question? And I know that I believe that Reverend Coleman is going to say use his position of power, and it depends on how the word is used. Is there an excuse? Is there a concern if it's used in rap music? Is there a concern if it's used in art? It's concerning literature?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. And not only that, it's a concern that when it's used, that there should be some type of punishment when it's used. For instance, we're actually dealing with a case today where the word house in was used on the job. And there are sites that the attorneys are using. And how many times does it need to be used before it's considered harassment? So there are some people, when they use this word, they think that once it's over and you say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry," that's the end of it. But the word has a historical connotation to it that is more than just, if you say it, it's talking about an established way of life. If you call an African American that word, you're saying more than "I don't like your skin color." You're telling them you have a special place. I don't see you as human. And the rappers, why we have so much violence among the rap culture, is because when you refer to your counterpart with the N-word, you're saying that nothing, nobody. So what does it mean to shoot a nobody? So this is what is the problem with the use of the word in any culture. And they don't have the knowledge of it. Now there are some areas where, like you said, kids will say it to a white, and black will say it to white, joking. But if they continue to say it in certain atmospheres or certain points, the same individuals that are joking, it'll turn violent. The word is not acceptable just because they're using it. It's still not acceptable. Even when the rappers use it, a lot of the concerts where it's used, it breaks out in violence.
Thank you. Melissa, you wanted to?
Well, I wanted to argue that, agree and add to the conversation that Cornel West, who is a very esteemed scholar out of Harvard University, wrote a book on this subject in which he put forth the hypothesis that there are two primary African-American views of this word, and that it's a generational thing. Older African-Americans, and particularly the generation that was subjected to the civil rights movement, do not approve this word, will not use this word, have an absolute problem with this word, and want it erased from the lexicon. And the younger generation wants to take back control of the word by using it as freely as they see fit and taking their power back. And I see a real generational disconnect there. And I think that one thing that books like Harper Lee's book do is to revisit the past and revisit the historical moments that have been lived through by the generation that doesn't think this is okay and doesn't want to have anything to do with it. And that the new generation needs to see where they're coming from. This can open a conversation and a dialogue that is an uncomfortable conversation and dialogue with your children, but that I think is necessary if you want this word to stop in the black community. In the white community, I'm going to be very honest and say I think there are 2 points of view. One is an ugly point of view where it's a power thing and it's a tripping thing and I want to hurt you the worst way I can, so this is the word I'm going to use, or I'm just an ugly person and I say terrible things about everybody. The other one is guilt. I'm not touching the word with a 10-foot pole. I'm not going to mention, I'm going to pretend it never existed because I have the burden of what happened to this group of people on my soul because I was raised to believe that it's my fault somehow, even though I didn't know anything about it and I wasn't even alive.
Me neither. I said the word, but I don't want to say it.
I would never say it, and it's appalling and horrifying. I think it's appalling and horrifying for everybody for different reasons. But if we understand that we all find it appalling and horrifying, we need to educate educate the next generation as to why that is. We can't throw it under the bus.
Listen, I need to reel you in because this Coleman's about to and I know this is going to be good.
It's very short because I don't want to keep rehashing what they already said. But just 2 things. I read through Cornel West today. We're on the same page on his book, Race Matters. And one of the things that he said in his text is that we have to understand that racism and using the N-word is just like what Pastor King said. It dehumanizes. It makes you less human. It makes you less than the floor in which you are walking upon. What happens to my teenagers, along with Pastor Scott, with his comment, is that they're not educated about their past. They have no clue. I can ask my 15-year-old daughter, other than knowing bits and pieces about the civil rights movement, she has no real concept or education about enslavement. We are the only group of people that ever lived through the bondage of slavery, moving from one continent to another one, taken and stripped of everything that we ever believed in. So there is a disconnect between the rap culture as well as my generation because they haven't been educated. And until we change what our textbooks look like, what we're teaching in the classroom, what our classrooms look like, I can tell you, when I came out of Westchester, I know what a classroom looks like to express what a Jewish culture looks like, what somebody from Russia, all those kinds of things, because that's the experience. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Frank Coleman here tonight. Frank Coleman?
Well, I'm here, Doc.
Reminded me so much of my wife.
Same generation.
Beth, you have a comment?
I just wanted to say one thing she said about the students were not educated about the past, and I do think that's the job, or one of the many jobs of Children Mockingbird, is to show them what society was like in the 30s. This is what we don't want to do.
Very good, very good. Reverend Scott, the question will be to you. When Atticus is out of town for one weekend, the Finch's black housekeeper, Calpurnia, takes the children with her to church. She knows she cannot go to a white church, so she takes the children to her church. However, at least one woman is very vocal in her disapproval of what Cal has done, saying, "You ain't got no business bringing white children here. They got their church, we got ours." Even today, 11 a.m. Sunday morning, is simply... Even today, I thought I said something wrong. This is not going to be behind you. Even today, 11 a.m. Sunday morning is the most segregated hour in America. When so much of our society is changing and mixing with the races, why is this change not taking place in most churches?
Well, one of the reasons why is because of the history of worship. And how we identify salvation. See, when you come to religion, that's one thing, because that's a study. But when you come to salvation, that's a condition. Anybody can practice